can I stir things up for a second and say, look, I don't care about this deal. I've been getting spammed for the last 24 hours of Sony Pony take the L and Microsoft people asking how mad I am. This is weird is that Games Pass keeps becoming a bigger and better deal. I think we can all admit
Game Pass, damn it.
Game Pass.
Oh, you fucked it up, even though you said you weren't going to.
Game
in
Pass.
the chat.
Game Pass keeps becoming better. Look, screw chat. They're going to roast me for saying Games Pass or Game Pass, no matter what they get mad. But here's my thing. For some reason, I feel like Microsoft people are just getting so weird, and Sony people are getting way too territorial. Nintendo people are getting too territorial, but especially those Microsoft dudes. I feel like the Microsoft dudes on Twitter.
Nintendo's just hanging out.
There's like, pictures of like Phil Spencer bench pressing stuff. Like everybody come down.
Everyone just stopped talking about Mario 35, and I was like, "Oh, all right, cool." Yeah, that baseball game, right?
Max, do people think you just hate Xbox? Is that the whole thing, basically?
Yeah, yes. Which is weird because if you look at, I do most of my reviews now on Xbox. Xbox Series X is objectively more powerful. It seems faster. I do a lot of stuff on Game Pass because, I mean, why am I going to pay for Outriders if I could just play it on there? But for some reason, people still say that, like, they'll send me pictures like, you want to kill Xbox? I don't know. I'm happy about this deal. I don't care about baseball. I don't know who Bobby Fletcher. I'm making up names. I don't care about baseball. But
That
all those
sounds
people.
very baseball either.
So
Bobby Fletcher, huh?
that's a name, right? That sounds real. I've heard that.
Let me look it up. Actually,
Yeah, I think that might be
Character on the
attached to
Crank
something.
Yankers.
So I think
A special ed drug using underachiever.
yeah.
That's a baseball player, right?
So I think overall though the reason it went multiplayer is because MLB didn't like that it was underperforming in the world of sports games, and there's no competition to it anymore. Like what RBI baseball? Nah, not RBI baseball. That's
Hey,
not
that's the same publisher that's bringing MLB The Show to Xbox.
and so they looked around and they said, "Well, hold on, we're publishing this game, and we're looking at this game. The show should be everywhere because it's not performing well."
Do you find it funny at all that I know MLB is the publisher and that's who Microsoft dealt with, but like that this deal was allowed to happen in the first place?
I mean, what was going to happen, right? Because MLB has the rights. So unless Sony just makes a baseball game with none of the names, none of the teams, none of the stuff.
I mean, more in the sense of like this makes Sony look bad in comparison, and like they've been a partner of MLB for a long time.
Right.
It almost seems like when these contracts are written out, like, was there not a provision in there, but like, and you cannot put this game in, a competitor's service? Because like,
probably, I mean, that's the thing. Probably not. Is MLB is just they're a very progressive company and getting their brand on other platforms. Like you have MLB TV on everything: laptop, phones, tablets. They want their product in the hands of as many people as possible.
Right.
So, if anything, this was Microsoft just being brilliant. They knew they didn't have to actually work with Sony to get this game on a Game Pass type service. MLB's the publisher. Microsoft comes in saying, "You're the first time on our platform this year. Let's get a lot of hype around this release. We want it on Game Pass." MLB, this is a win-win for us. We had the best baseball developer in the world make this game, and now we're going to have a huge reach on Xbox. It's still going to sell well on the PlayStation. There's really no loser in this scenario. And I mean, this is great for baseball fans.
And next year it's going to the Switch. So like,
yes,
they're going to have it everywhere, basically. I you know what? I thought about this. I have a feeling this didn't cost Microsoft as much money as it looks like from the outside. Like, I bet you Microsoft could have gone to him and like, do you think it'll sell 1 million units on the Xbox? Because like, if they start talking around like, okay, what do we got to do to compensate you for that many? Like, this might have been like an Outriders level deal.
Well, I think it's interesting because you look at the two big deals that they've done recently. You could make the argument that maybe it was best for both those games. Like Outriders, maybe people weren't too sure after the demo, but Microsoft comes and pays for it, and it has a large audience. It gets kind of a more social reach. It's basically free advertising, right? And you look at MLB, a game that's never been on Xbox, so maybe there was a little bit concerned that people wouldn't buy it because they weren't familiar with the franchise. So Microsoft comes in and says, hey, we'll give you a bunch of money. And now, okay, 20 million people or whatever the number is now can come play it. And that game also has microtransactions in the like my player-ish mode, right? I think.
Yeah.
There's microtransactions in the game,
if you're MLB, and you can be like, okay, it's also valuable data for, Square Enix and MLB being like, what is the, how many people are going to download this for free and then actually engage with the microtransactions, and we can extract more money out of them than they would for paying it. And then I kind of thinking like, well, we already they have a deal with EA where like Madden's already on Game Pass and FIFA's coming next month and NHL. What if Microsoft and what if EA sees that data about people, engaging with that title or those titles on Game Pass, and instead of waiting, what if Microsoft ends up getting Madden and FIFA and like NHL day one instead of waiting 6 months?
I mean, then they will be the definitive sports platform.
I mean, 2K's on there right now. I mean, granted, it's the last gen version, but like all the sports games are essentially going to be on Game Pass, and a lot of casual people play sports titles. They're always some of the best selling, so that could be what Microsoft essentially could be going for. Why pay $60 or $70 on PlayStation when you could give us $10 and play them for basically nothing?
The thing with the sports titles though is, I think, because really when you look at sales for games like Madden, NBA 2K, even FIFA to some extent, like the first month is like killer, and then there's a huge drop off because everyone sort of gets it. So I think if Microsoft could have those games day one on Game Pass, that would be huge. After the fact, 3-4 months later, it's kind of tougher, I feel, for it to be impactful like this is going to be.
Yeah, like that. I think that would cost a lot of money for Microsoft.
See, that's where I think Microsoft. And this is just, it's pure speculation on my part. I think Microsoft is going to try to replicate what T-Mobile does with MLB. Every year, T-Mobile gives you a subscription to MLB.TV. It comes with your T-Mobile membership. If Microsoft can position themselves with MLB to every single April have MLB The Show part of Game Pass each year, and then I believe like the MLB.TV subscription runs out in like March. Let's say they give you a full year with the show. Come April, they remove the prior year, give you the new version. If Microsoft can position themselves this way with MLB, they're really going to be a strong platform for baseball. That's going to be the platform you associate baseball to. And then Sony, they have to come up with some sort of retaliation. This is still their IP.
They're still developing it.
Yeah, they're developing it. They publish it on their platform. There's nothing stopping Sony from saying, this is our April PlayStation Plus game. Or
you got Oddworld.
Now. They can do that at any point.
Yeah, that's the thing that's weird to me. It's like Sony could have just done that, been like, oh, this is PlayStation Plus as well. It's going to be right next to Oddworld Soulstorm. It's like, all right, we'll do it too then. I guess they're thinking it won't affect their sales.
But who's paying Sony to put their own game in PlayStation Plus, especially when you have Jim Ryan already saying that they don't see that as feasible or sustainable?
Microtransactions. You'll hope that you'll have a substantial amount of microtransactions to make it profitable.
I get what Rand's saying, because I almost think that like we're getting to that point with, so you know how like a company will do really well one generation and then the next generation they'll kind of slip up a bit. It's mostly from complacency. Now Sony hasn't had that PS3 moment or anything, but like it does feel a little bit like maybe it is Jim Ryan or something, I don't know, but there is kind of a feeling of complacency almost. I mean, think of it, we're not getting Ratchet and Clank till the middle of this year. Returnal is like their next, I guess, big release. If that's not a good game, then it's going to be like, I mean, that's not good. That's going to be a long run until we get to the next gen.
I think it's because Xbox and PlayStation are playing different games at this point. Whereas last gen, they were playing the same game, and the 360, they were playing the same game. It's just that Microsoft went and played something different, and they're trying to, Game Pass is trying to be that market disruptor that Sony right now really doesn't have an answer to. Like Sony wants to keep everything the same, so they're following the old path that has always worked for them, while Microsoft is out there being like, no, we're going to basically Netflix it up. We're going to, basically like we're going to tell everybody, like, if you want to play as many games as possible, you can do it the cheapest way for here. And with the way the Game Pass is set up, where they have 2 announcements every month, it makes Sony's silence seem a little bit more prolonged, because Microsoft will come on and be like, we have Outriders, and they dominate the discussion, right? And then you have FPS Boost, which gets more clicks. And then the next week we get, MLB The Show's here, right? The following week, next week, they're going to announce the rest of the games for April for the next 2 weeks. Who knows? Maybe there's a new Square Enix title, just like Octopath Traveler that nobody thought was coming to Xbox. And then 2 weeks later, what if they say, oh, by the way, Resident Evil Village is coming to Game Pass day one? And then it makes Sony's silence regarding what they're doing to platforms seem even larger because Xbox is always making announcements.
I mean, these are all games I would just play on Game Pass and then buy like 8 months later when they're $20. That's all I would do.
The biggest thing I think Microsoft is trying to do is they're just trying to widen the gap of people who are willing to even try Game Pass. Because as somebody who's had it since the start, the service now is great. Something I've been doing, like what I did today, for like 5 hours today, I'll just scroll through the list of hundreds of games. I installed Morrowind and played it for a bit. I installed Phantom Dust and played it for a bit. And I think that's the thing, is the Netflix of games dream. They're the first people to actually do it. And I feel like they just keep sweetening the pot and stirring it up. Like, oh, there's a little bit of MLB. Oh, you want some Outriders?
I mean, if they want to keep keeping me from having to buy games for $60, $70, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm staying subscribed forever. I mean, it's too good.
They're the first person to do it successfully.
Yeah.
Live did it before.
Well, no, sorry. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Is that
What's with the Game Tap disrespect around here?
Game Tap.
What do we
go.
think about the sustainability of this?
It's already profitable. I know this. I think the people out there talking about how it doesn't make any money or they're losing money, they don't know what they're talking about. It's Microsoft. It's a $1 trillion company. I super chatted the other week when you guys were talking about this. Satya Nadella's compensation package is 5% based on Game Pass, right? So like it's in his best interest monetarily to make Game Pass as big as it is. And I've heard that Microsoft is aiming to have Game Pass, like their best year for Game Pass, and they are investing and they are spending a lot of money. And this is just the beginning. Outriders and MLB The Show won't be the last AAA games to hit Game Pass day one.
These aren't even to the iceberg. There are legit megatons coming this year that Microsoft will announce as day one releases for Game Pass.
Like if I had to guess, I don't know some of the titles, but I hear certain things. Like I would not be surprised if Back 4 Blood hits Game Pass on day one. It seems like a perfect title.
See, that's a game I would like to just download and play.
Yeah, I would imagine Battlefield 6 is another one. Like I said, I think there's something going on with EA. I think Battlefield 6 is going to be on Game Pass.
That'd be pretty big. Well. Something like that.
There's a lot of smoke with Hades coming to Game Pass. Yes, it's not a day one release, but Hades now has that popularity to it. And when you bring that type of game to Game Pass, it's going to draw a lot of attention. It may not bring new subscribers per se, but it's going to do well on the platform. And you even have the rumors of potentially Microsoft has made a deal with Sega to bring Persona to Game Pass.
That would be all right. So if it's not Persona Strikers and it's actually Persona 5 Royal Edition or something like that, that would actually be pretty massive if they made that happen, because then I feel like at that time you'd finally see Atlas and Sega start actually putting Persona games all over the place.
I think it'll be like Persona 4 Golden. They'll bring the series over like they did.
I would love that.
I think it's going to happen, and then I think you're going to see the Ubisoft games, the entire catalog be added to Game Pass at the end.
You
think
the year. They're going to get that? So here's my issue with that, because it's this is Uplay we're talking about then.
Well,
or
I'm not saying it's Uplay. I think they'll just add the back catalog.
Ubisoft games.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, more Ubisoft games will be added.
I'm thinking we get to a point where there's like tiers of Game Pass. Like I have a hard time believing it's be $15 forever.
They're in user acquisition mode. It'll be $15 until they reach an internal target, whether it's 40 or 50 million. Then they'll start raising the price, and that's when Xbox Live Gold will go away and multiplayer will be free. Clip it.
$20 a month.
You heard them, Evan. Clip
$20.
I hate the idea of tier. I hope you're wrong about that. I like these ideas. I like the idea of it, like especially stuff like Persona. Man, throwing stuff that people want the most. I think that's the best. Is that if they just start delivering the games that nobody else is. Like everybody's been begging for Persona 4 Golden. If they grow Golden on Xbox, oh my god! I mean,
I'll tell you what. If Resident Evil Village does go to Game Pass day one, like that would actually be a really big deal.
That would be huge.
That would be huge.
They're going to raise the price. They're going to raise the price of this. There's no way this is not going to.
They will raise the price. It just won't be anytime soon. This is.
I think it'll be more sooner than later. I think it could.
I don't.
Here's the reason why I think, Rand. Here's the reason why I think, because once the Bethesda games start hitting, there's no way that it's going to blow up. This is going to get more and more people are going to subscribe to it. It's going to be like Amazon. Amazon was, Prime for a while. Yeah, but then what happened when they started blowing up? Like, boom, those prices changed quick. When Amazon Prime got really big, I just don't see them not raising the price by next year.
Sure, I mean, I can see that argument,
year.
and then Microsoft's is probably also about to spend $10 billion on Discord. I think that is 99% going to happen.
But if they keep adding these big games though, Rand, day one, I mean, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, it's like $3 more a month." Okay, like if you keep delivering these kind of games, I feel like people would be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like a huge price. It'll be like Amazon Prime. How much did they? It was $99 and it went to $130 for the year.
Right.
For the year, yeah.
They'll raise the price when they reach a target, and I think what we're seeing here is the first time Microsoft is 100% all in on gaming and Xbox.
Ooh, they definitely are.
I mean, acquisitions, they won't stop. I'm not saying they're going to buy somebody this year, but like. From what I understand, they're only interested in publishers at this point because Matt Booty is at his operational limit of 15. So if they do make individual studio acquisitions, like hypothetically, let's imagine they bought IO Interactive, right? Makers Hitman.
That's a good one.
Bethesda could make that purchase. And then Bethesda would essentially run IO Interactive because I don't think they want to give Matt more work. That's why people talk about publishers, because it's easy. You plug the system in. They already know how to make their games. So who knows? In 2 years, maybe Microsoft has this big post: Xbox and Sega coming together.
Dude, if they bought Sega, that would be, man,
impossible.
That would be crazy.
It's impossible.
Nothing. I mean, yeah.
But it still sounds impossible.
I mean, Sega, I would say Sega's not in as good a place as they were like so many years ago. Like they've been having a hard time recently. But that would be that headline would still be like that would set the internet on fire. I'm trying to think of what would be. Would Microsoft buying Sega be bigger than Microsoft buying Bethesda and ZeniMax?
I think it'd be bigger just because it's a Japanese company.
Like optics.
Optics, but actual impact, Bethesda's way, 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 way big. I mean, Sega, the most popular Sega games don't even touch the potential of Skyrim.
Microsoft will control Persona then.
Yeah, but Persona at the end of the day, but people love Persona. Persona hasn't sold more than 5 million on all Persona 5 hasn't sold more than 5 million on a system with over 100 million install base. So people can talk about. I mean, people love Persona. Don't get me wrong. And let's not talk about the spinoffs. Like the other type of games, those don't sell at all. Those barely sell. They do okay.
Dancing all night.
Yeah, like the dancing games, the other stuff, and Persona Q. Those barely sell. I mean, Skyrim has outsold the whole. Franchise, like just the base Skyrim, not even counting that, has outsold every Persona game combined. So I mean, we can't go too far with it, but yeah, it would still be big from optics wise because it's a Japanese company. Like it's still like that'd be crazy.